Hello, fermented folks, and welcome to another show that isn't fermented fiction, but Meathead Media. This is episode 2 of our inaugural season on fermented fiction. We are three hopefully beefy doofuses that write about movies and books. We try and be. All three of us are on the pursuit of becoming beefy, which is why we're meatheads. My name is Travis Vermolum, as you see in my little bubble there. I co-host Fermented Fiction with my brother. To my, what is that, left, I guess, is Zeb, right, whatever. Left in your orientation is Zebediah. And down below is Kent Harmon. We are the three writers on the Meathead Media Substack. If you want to read any of the articles that are discussed today, go to meatheadmedia.substack.com and you can read our reviews of such great movies as Arrival, Patriot Games, The Smashing Machine, Miracle, and a twofer. I wrote a twofer this month on 2 Oscar nominees, Sentimental Value, and of course, Hamnet. And we're going to talk about all of that. So if you haven't seen any of those, spoilers ahead. We're going to spoil everything. So go watch the movies before you come listen to us, because the movies are better than us talking. But hey, we're a close second, we hope. Kent, what's been going on with you, man? How you doing?
Good.
Anything you want to say to the people?
Yeah, new to Milwaukee, getting settled in. I'm sure some of the viewers have seen some, at least from my previous video, just a blank wall, kind of moving boxes, stuff like that. Moving's going well. We're getting settled in, and excited for summer. I'm closer to this guy over here, so we've been getting up to some nonsense, and look forward to some more.
Nice.
Yeah, how was that drive from Reno?
Oh my God, it's like Vietnam flashbacks just thinking about it. Because
Travis, I don't know if you,
yeah,
but this guy long hauled it to Reno to pick up some of like his stuff that he had left, and then long hauled it back.
Oof.
Oh, yeah.
Oof. Alone?
Yeah. Alone.
Yep. Oof.
Yeah.
Boy.
Technically, he wasn't technically alone. It was him and Willie Nelson.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's a good driving companion.
Oh yeah, and Miss Goons. Oh, I know she wasn't with me. Goodness. No, more or less. Yeah, it was tough. I want to say in total the driving was 29 hours, 31 hours, and I split it up into about 3 days, and then coming back. That's where it got a little bit more fun. Where Margaret and Steffi, to the viewers, girlfriend, sister. They are total little badasses. They got biking guiding jobs this summer in the Swiss Alps, and their final interview stage, fourth stage, was in Salt Lake. So coincidentally, when they finished their interview and I picked up my stuff, we were both done and in the area. So hung out with them for a little bit and spent a night in Fort Collins, hung out for a day, and then drove back, where I stayed through Nebraska, Omaha, and then Salt Lake, and then Reno, and then back through.
Wild. Well,
yeah, it was a lot.
We commend you, sir. We're glad you made it back safe to talk about movies. Zebediah,
howdy.
What's been going on with you, buddy?
The biggest life update I have is that I just did my first official interview for an assistant professorship position.
Oh shit!
Yeah. It was an experience. So it was one full day, like 9 hours straight of meetings, interviews, and I had to give a guest lecture on a topic. The guest lecture was on a chapter of a book. So putting together like a big lecture was really fun. Yeah, it was interesting. I definitely learned a lot from it. It was a great experience, and we'll see if I get an offer or not. But for the time being, I'm still here in Milwaukee, baby.
All right. Well, as for myself, you can probably, you know what? I'm just going to cop out and say, go to Fermented Fiction to see some of my life updates. No, I'm kidding. I'll actually give one. You might have seen, if you watched that other show, that I've been pursuing for a while, a teaching credential, 2 years now. Well, folks, gentlemen,
No way.
I'm credentialed.
All right.
I am credentialed. So, well, it's cool for me because my degrees are in subjects that public school has decided not to care about. Yes, that's a dig on public school. I don't apologize for this. And so I need to go through private third-party organizations to get accredited kind of as a teacher in philosophy and theology. And it did. So this will help me with hiring at any private school, hopefully, other than ones that maybe don't like the organization that accredited me, but I don't want to teach there anyway. So this will be good. Yeah, that's my life update. Yep.
And they don't want you either.
Yeah, they don't want me either, and I don't want them, and that's okay. We don't have to be together if we don't want to.
At a public.
All right.
All right.
Well, that's us. That's the Meatheads, and we talk about movies. We've teased you with that several times now, and now we're actually going to do it. So we're going to start out with an oldie but a goodie, a classic Harrison Ford action flick with the one and only voice of Darth Vader, James Earl Jones. And who played his wife again?
Oh, shoot.
This is terrible of me.
Wait, hold on. I'm looking at it.
Oh, God, it's on the tip of my tongue. I want to say Pamela Anderson for a second.
No.
Is it
No,
Linda?
not even close.
Is it Linda
It's
Hamilton?
was it Linda Hamilton?
No. Around that time.
Anne Archer. Anne Archer played his wife.
Yep.
And then, of course, as the villain, the iconic, the lovable, the always going to die in a movie before the mid-2000s, Sean Bean. So, great movie. Patriot Games came out in 1992. And our resident author here, we're going to put him in the spotlight in just a second, wrote the article about it. And it followed our theme this month of love stories that maybe come out of movies that aren't supposed to be about love. And Patriot Games is supposed to be an action film, right? You know, knockdown, drag out. Jack Ryan, spy games, big thriller. What does this have to do with love, Kent? Tell us.
Well, yeah, it's all about the family man, right? It's all about protecting his family and serving his community, serving his country. I mean, he's not doing this job for money. And towards the later half of this, he's certainly not doing it necessarily for country. It's for his interests. It's for his own love for things. He's a protector. And in this second film, he is off on vacation. He gets dragged into this, and not vacation necessarily, but for him probably. I mean, he's off in England, I believe, and more or less he gets roped back into it, and he finishes it. He doesn't throw the first punch, but he finishes the fight, and he does it in the name of family. So I couldn't think of anything better that represents true practical love.
Yeah, I thought you really dug deep into this one, and it was awesome. I love that you talk about it being built on a marriage. So let me just read a few of your words for our audience. The movie's emotional center is not rooted in politics at all. It's rooted in marriage. From its opening moments, Patriot Games establishes that Jack Ryan's defining commitment is not to a country or a cause, but to his wife Kathy and their child. The film's real question is not how a good man confronts terrorism, but how love survives when violence intrudes on an ordinary life.
Yeah.
I think that was awesome. And I think, if I may set up my question with a bit of history nerding out here, I think a lot of the stories of the greatest warriors we read, like, there's two kinds of great warriors we read. There's the psychopaths. Okay, I'm going to addend this again. 3. I would say 3. There's the psychopaths who just like to kill people. There's the self-obsessed who just want to be glorious. But then you get a lot of stories in history of the men who have deep love for their home. And I think that's what you've tackled here. And those are often my favorites to read. One of my favorite historical figures is Winston Churchill, because his love of England drove him to defend it with this fury that people often were kind of like shaken up by. So can you talk about that? I really like that you pulled that out of the movie, and how Jack Ryan kind of represents that, and how Harrison Ford's like acting plays into that role, and also Zeb. Obviously, let's reform it here.
Do you mean it more from like a communal sense or like an individual sense? That patriotism.
I think I mean like you talk about his dedication to his home as being like above his country, and like he has something to fight for. Like, how do we
like
see
more
that?
of like
Yeah,
an individual role in that patriotism?
yeah. How do we see that in Patriot games, and like how do you think Harrison Ford brings it to the front?
Yeah, I think uniquely in a lot of sects of our government, and I could speak uniquely to this. I'm sure the viewers see it. This is my old volunteer fire department. I like sleeping in it. It's nice and comfy. More or less, I think there's this silent honor and morality a lot of folks carry in lines of work like that, regardless of country, honestly. But to speak individually to this, I think there is this silent honor that relays this consistency, this dependability. And Harrison Ford throughout the entire movie is very dependable and is always driven, just as any good patriot usually is. And I don't mean to sound too, hey, let's rally the troops, wear the pitchforks. But no, it's the classic era where your villain wasn't a terrorist as we know nowadays. It's this European man, like from Die Hard, and it's this. I guess the reason why I mention this is that in these types of movies where we're not using cultural differences to differ the people, we have more actions and more moral statements than obvious ones. And well, hey, we got two white guys, and I think this amplifies this uniquely enough because it doesn't focus on other aspects other than honor and family and patriotism and honor to one's country, because even the terrorists are doing it in the name of Ireland in terms of their sovereignty. So I think the movie does a really good job of limiting distractions, and Harrison's script and his entire bravado really highlights his dedication to not only his concentration and his quiet, but in his action, as bold and limited as it may be in the movie.
I'm glad you brought that up about the IRA, because you were going down a path that I was going to challenge you so hard on.
Right. Well, I mean, they're the radical cells, so it becomes even an offshoot at that point. It's technically not the IRA, but it is. You know,
I was going to say, this isn't patriotism versus like unpatriotic. This is patriotism versus patriotism, and both characters are fighting for their home. Both are fighting for their family. Both are fighting for ideals and devotion above themselves.
Right.
It's just that, Jack Ryan is only acting in defense and not offense, whereas good old Sean Penn and the IRA are a little more on the offensive. And that's what, in this instance at least, makes them more of the villains.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Until you read English history in Ireland, and then you kind of question. Question who's the real villain?
Red right hand.
I do think I did a poor job, and maybe we did this in the last episode too, but I want to correct something we haven't been doing. Maybe could you, Kent, or you, Zeb, either one, give a little synopsis of Patriot Games, because if people just jump in randomly here, they might be like, what the hell are these guys talking about?
They're talking about politics. No.
Right.
So what is Patriot Games about?
Kent, please go for it. This is your film.
It's about how one's love influences and pushes them to fighting for what is right. It's about fighting for one's country no matter what is going on around you.
So Jack Ryan is in England and stops an IRA like terrorist attack, and then he gets embroiled in the whole plot that the IRA had, and basically Sean Ben is like, no, I'm gonna get that guy. He messed up my plans, and then goes after Jack Ryan or Harrison Ford's family, and then it becomes like a battle.
And for killing his brother too.
Yeah.
Also, that's more of the plot.
And the whole time, I will add to anyone who hasn't seen the movie, Sean Bean's hair is just phenomenal.
It's like a cologne commercial the whole time.
Oh, it's great. He's rocking like a flowy mullet.
That's
awesome.
You know who someone, speaking of Patriot Games and cologne, you know who should start their own cologne if they haven't already? Fucking Harrison Ford. That dude makes a killing.
He would.
You want to smell like Han Solo? Here, buy my cologne.
He probably wouldn't even have to advertise it that much. He could just be like, just buy it. And he's like, gruff voice, and people would be like, hell yeah. I'm in.
Right.
You're right.
You got it, Harrison Ford.
Yeah, you got it. I'm in. I'll buy it.
I'll buy it. You got it.
I liked your section on the villain, and Zeb kind of touched on this too already, but the villain is a mirror of devotion. Because again, your article focuses a lot on how Jack Ryan really only enters this conflict because he's trying to protect his family. So it's Fast and Furious, but actually good. And I love that you talk about how Sean Bean's character has the same kind of devotion to his country that Jack has to his family. But as Zeb said, one of them is causing an offensive constant in life, and the other one is causing a defensive constant in life. Can you speak a little more on that?
Yeah. And in terms of that defensive nature, I mean, Ryan's out of it. I mean, he's teaching, I think it was like submarines or some sort of naval education at some random conference in England. He's so far removed from it all, and it still follows him. Where the one prior, oh gosh, I'm forgetting the name, but it's the Narcos movie, where he goes and infiltrates, digs up the U.S. plot. I mean, just from that movie alone, he's got sticky hands everywhere he goes. I mean, he's going to pick up and things are going to follow him. So he is a very defensive man in this movie because he's pseudo retired. He made the big case, he's done. And that's like how all good sequels go, just like every James Bond movie. You're not done yet. Sorry, man. I don't know what to tell you. Girlfriend, bang.
Yep.
And Harrison Ford gets totally roped into it. And then you've got, I know you said his name, I'm totally spacing on it. Our handsome Irishman,
Sean Bean.
Sean Bean, thank you. He's constantly, they're the underdogs. I mean, they're not in control of England. They're not in control of really anything besides their own community. So they're constantly on the offensive to try and take that out. And just like how previous actions tie them together, it's tying in Mr. Bean there. And just like the previous movie I reviewed, One Battle After Another, this is something very similar. When you have larger institutions consistently sparring, you're always going to have some sort of cross contamination, regardless where you go and what you do. Hi, girl.
Yeah.
So I think that's why he's on the offensive, and Mr. Ford is on the defensive. But they're still a part of the same circus ride because They were already there. Someone's gonna see their marks, see their imprint, and drag them back in.
Mm-hmm. And then kind of the final thing I want to touch on is I really like that you noticed the core scene. So I'll read your words again. The home invasion sequence is the emotional core of the Patriot games and the moment where the film fully reveals itself as a love story under siege. The scene is terrifying not because of its choreography, but because of its setting. The house is not a generic location. It represents Jack and Kathy's shared life. It is a space of ordinary moments and quiet intimacy. When violence enters that space, it feels like a profound violation.
Well,
Yeah, I thought that was really good.
you know what made me think of that quote?
What?
Weirdly enough, that this is just a funny point. You know how the storm's brewing and there's mud and shit everywhere?
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, man, all those guys are just dirtying up those fucking floors right now. Those floors are getting so damn dirty. It's such an intrusion. It's such an invasion, whatever synonym you want to put in front of it. And that's what led me to say that. Funny enough.
Nice. I think it's true though, and I'd like to ask both of you, to sort of maybe wrap up my portion, I guess.
Well, I already took that.
I'd like to ask both of you. What was I going to say? Oh shoot, I lost my train of thought. No, it'll come back. Here it is. Okay, both of you. I think this happens in quite a few movies. This whole like invasion of the familial space, being kind of like a high tension point. And do you think I'm right? Is kind of my question. And like, can you think of a place that you remember it really happening? I can definitely think of a few horror movies where like it gets real once it gets home. But even action films, I think you're right, Kent, that like that's got to happen more often than I think. And I'm trying to think of more examples of it. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, action movies that hit the home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or like the high tension point.
I've got a fun one.
Is when the home is invaded, basically. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I Am Legend.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. Yep.
Yeah. Because like, yeah, the turmoil's already there, but he's learned to live in it. And it doesn't really, really hit how awful the situation is until then. Or the other obvious answer of Home Alone, but that's not as much tension until they really start getting in the home.
Yeah, and that's where I think I'm kind of saying it like, because I think Patriot Games disguises its high tension point. It's not like a movie just purely about a home invasion, but like that is the point of the most turmoil. And so I think I Am Legend is perfect because it's not a movie about a home invasion, but the mannequin changes everything. And like the mannequin seems like just a mannequin, but to him, that's like everything. And as soon as it's not how it's supposed to be, he's like, what the hell is going on? And everything's going to change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was going to say, I couldn't think of a movie off the top of my head, but I could think of a TV show called The Terminal List.
Called what?
The Terminal List. With
oh yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's a really good TV show, and the main character is played by Chris Pratt, and he goes off and does crazy special operator things, and gets involved in a conspiracy theory, but doesn't really like care about it until all of a sudden his family gets whacked, and then it's game over for everybody involved. But
yeah, that one was especially. I watched the first episode, which at the end of it is when the family gets whacked. And I remember being like, oh, okay, like there's stakes to this. Like it's not. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect his wife and kid to just die.
That was not a happy ending series either.
Oh no! I gotta watch it, but I have the book on my shelf. I want to read the book first.
Nor was the follow-up called Dark Wolf.
Dark Wolf.
Yeah. Both very good. Amazon Prime. I have a fun fact, actually, unless you guys have any more things to
No,
talk about.
please.
So the Jack Ryan book series does not follow the movies that involve Jack Ryan do not follow the same chronological order that the book series does. So Kent, you were saying about how in this version Jack Ryan is in England talking about submarines because chronologically he was just on the hunt for the Red October right before this book.
Oh,
That makes
that
sense.
makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? Do you remember the
so
scene?
cool.
Yeah, you remember the scene in The Hunt for the Red October where he's like he's gonna take a Perchenkov maneuver and go to the right or whatever?
Shit, yeah.
Yeah. So that was, even though that was Alec Baldwin, and that movie came out after these two movies with Harrison Ford, it technically took place before the Harrison Ford Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger.
Well, now I look like I got cake in my face.
Which is,
no,
it's
I'm
funny.
happy you're telling me. I'd much rather learn than say something incorrect and move forward.
Yeah,
it's funny that that Harrison Ford wasn't in Hunt for Red October, but he was in K-19 Widowmaker.
Yeah,
the Widowmaker. Yeah,
that's a good point.
He was in another super submarine movie, but it wasn't a Jack Ryan submarine movie.
Also, I'm just cracking up looking at the order of people who have played Jack Ryan. So it went Harrison Ford, then it went Alec Baldwin, and then it went what the heck is his name? My goodness, I'm looking right at him. Son of a nut, Ben Affleck. And then in the series it became, or no, not the series. Then in the Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit, it was Chris Pine.
Yep, that was Chris Pine.
So very similar. Very similar, like what happened with Bond. You know, you had like 5 or 6 different Bonds, including Mr. Bean.
Yeah, but American actors. So he's like I guess Jack Ryan is the American Bond.
Yep. So anyway, that's my fun fact.
I love it.
Also, since I know you guys do this on Fermented Fiction, these were box office successes.
Oh yeah, you can
believe it or not.
Definitely, Patriot Games was. I mean, Harrison Ford in the '90s was like almost an automatic.
Yeah,
Michael Jackson.
He was on a tear. He was on a tear.
He was on a tear.
Get off my way.
I'm gonna look here. Yeah, in a row he had Last Crusader. Presumed Last Crusader in '89, Presumed Innocent in '90, Patriot Games in '92, Fugitive in '93, Clear and Present Danger in '94, Air Force One, and he had a bit of a gap before Air Force One in '97.
Is Blade Runner in there?
Blade Runner was early, man.
Blade Runner was early. That was like either 79 or 80.
It was after.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, no, you're so right. Yeah.
82. It was in between. Holy crap. Blade Runner was in between Raiders of the Lost Ark and Return of the Jedi for Harrison Ford.
Wow.
That guy was batting at and right after that, right before Raiders was Empire Strikes Back.
Wow.
So yeah, he was on a tear.
What a guy.
Dude. You can give that man any drug in the world and it will not top that.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Talk about sets that you're a part of, like casual lore that you can just drop.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he's got a lot in his and I feel like he hasn't taken as steep of a decline as other older actors in recent memory. I mean, Captain America wasn't great, but like Blade Runner 2049 was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was in
42 was good. Ender's Game was good. I've heard his
Star Wars
was good. Trigging. Yeah, he was in the new Star Wars ones.
They got whacked.
He's on a Yellowstone spinoff, and those are making bank right now.
Was that 1934?
1923. He's the older one. He's Jacob Detton.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're gonna protect this ranch.
We're gonna keep our land.
There's too many cows on too many ranches.
I don't care how many people I have to kill in the name of peace.
For my land. We're kind of off script, but that's okay. We don't really have one, and that's just a fact. I was just showing my wife Hell or High Water. Such a good movie. And when it ended, she saw the written by Taylor Sheridan, and she was like, wait, this was written by Taylor Sheridan? I was like, yeah, he made like 2 of the best modern Westerns ever. And then he just was like, I'm going to make money now. Went and started making Yellowstone.
Dude, you know he did Wind River too?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 2 of the best modern Westerns.
Okay, that's the other Western. All right, got it.
Yeah.
My bad.
Insanity.
Yeah. Insane. Oh, speaking of stuff that happens in Montana, we need to talk about my movie Arrival.
Spotlight. Kent, you got the questions.
Sure do.
I gotta go off camera for a second.
Huh?
He's going off camera for a second.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Zeb,
I'm here.
Initial thoughts? Why'd you pick the movie? What got you buzzing?
Okay, number one, because this movie handles time loops and like predetermination stuff. It handles it really, really well. And that's why I really enjoyed this movie. So in a lot of future tense films where the script basically lays out what will happen, but it's already happened and it was required to happen to come back into the past to do it again. This film treats it, instead of a predestination loop like the bootstrap theory or like the grandfather paradox, this film treats it more like the eternal now. Like everything is ever present, because if time's a flat circle, it's always happening. So instead of being predetermined, it just always is. It doesn't take free will out of the equation.
Sure.
It emphasizes it in that flat circle, which ties directly into like what the aliens' language is. That's the whole craziness. But behind all of that, it was the love story that sold it for me. That made me want to write about it for this particular month.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the show is, or rather movie is such a statement piece. There's not a lot like it. That said, for the couple, could you draw any comparisons? Have you seen other couples in other movies that kind of helps you in this identification process of seeing the love between the couple here, or is there any similarity? Like what helps you identify that piece?
Sure. So let me double check something to make sure I'm not. Okay.
Also, before you get too deep into the philosophical, Zeb, what is Arrival about?
Probably explain that, why my transition using Montana worked so well if you guys didn't get it. The film Arrival is an alien sci-fi adventure. It's a first contact movie, and one of the alien craft of the dozens that land across the world, one of them lands in Montana. So that was why I had that transition. Once they land, teams of scientists from every country are sending their scientists to like research and investigate and figure out why they're there and kind of decode the language, because the aliens use a very interesting language that can best be described as like an ink blot or a Rorschach test type of speech pattern. But it's so intricate that they discover that to write in that way, you need to know how long your sentence is, what the ending of the sentence is, and how much space it would take up. It would be like writing with each hand towards the middle, and the aliens form it in the shape of a blot. As our 2 main protagonists go through, their scientific roles, one of them is Amy Adams. The other is Jeremy Renner. Jeremy Renner plays a physicist, and Amy Adams plays a linguist. And they slowly but surely begin to fully decipher the alien language, and in the process, they fall in love. But there's a lot of crazy stuff in between.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. I mean, it's
And sorry, Ken. I hope I don't take your question was a very good one. I just knew that Zeb would get deep into so.
Oh yeah, before this train left the station.
Yeah, restate your question before. So because I'd love to hear Zeb's answer to it. But
yeah, I mean, more or less, we kind of went into the specifics on the thought process on identifying the movie as the pseudo love movie, even though it is a first contact, as Zeb said. And yeah, Zeb, what are you thinking?
I think your question was more along the lines of like, why did this, pique your interest? Why did this like stand out to you? And like, have I seen this in other films? Is that why this struck me? I can't like think of other couples that this has happened to other than Interstellar, which came out 3 years before. And the whole thesis of Interstellar was that love transcends dimensions. And we see something very similar in this movie where Louise, played by Amy Adams, has a beautiful line that got me choked up towards the end of the film, where she tells Jeremy Renner, who's totally clueless, she just tells him, "I have really enjoyed like loving you this long," or something to that effect of like, she has loved him through the future and the past because he is now connected to the circle. She's connected to the eternal now. So yeah, this movie really got me because it followed a very similar theme of like, can love transcend time? And I think it can.
Yep.
Dude, if I can jump in there, Kent, because
please.
I'm dying to ask you about Augustine, Zeb. Your dad was a philosophy teacher, and I know he probably knows a lot of Augustine. I don't know how much you know, but did you see the similarities between this movie and it's kind of like you say, love transcends time and space? And I think one of the most compelling arguments for the existence of free will, even with a God who has a knowledge of all things, which, yeah, I'll see. Do you know that? Do you know his theory? I call it future memory.
Yeah, I'm semi-familiar. I've also heard it described as like the prophetic past future tense. Like,
yeah,
something will have had come to pass.
Yeah.
Though the best way I can describe it, especially in better understanding free will, is, let's say you're going to take a road trip from me in Milwaukee to Travis and Bozeman. I know I'm starting here. I know that Bozeman is my final destination, but there are 1,000,001 different routes that I can take along that path, right? And that's the free will aspect, is like, I know I'm going to Bozeman, but it's my choice how I get there. It's my choice if I take I-90, I-94, if I go through the Dakotas.
So like free radicals and superposition.
Yeah. And there's another way I've always described it to people that I think you're right, Zeb. That one works really well. The one I've always used that clicked in my mind and really just like literally changed my life, because it was one of the defining moments of my like journey towards Catholicism, is you can think of a moment in your past, like anyone can. Like, let's just do it live on the air, people. Think, Zeb and Kent, think of a moment in your past where you had that defined your life. Like, got it?
Yeah.
If you think of that moment and then you go on to say like, okay, were there other choices I could make besides the one that I made? Yeah.
Yeah.
So like butterfly effect?
Well, hold up. Were there other choices? Like,
yes.
Yeah, for sure.
You made the one you did though, and that's where you're living. Sure. But like those other choices weren't fake. Like they were just as valid and possible as the one that you did make. So like you remembering a past choice and thinking about the ways you could have been is how God sees everything. That's what Augustine says.
Sure. He sees
And
it
so
like branches of a tree. There's 110.
Right, he views all realities, simulations at the same time. He's able to see intent at its fullest spider web.
Yeah, but that doesn't make the intent any less possible, I guess. So like our free will is still free. We can still make those choices.
Of course.
Even though he knows them. So, okay. Long theological branch there. And to all people listening who maybe aren't Christian or fans of theology, whatever.
Movies.
Yeah, the point I'm getting to is, do you think that's what Arrival is pointing towards? Is this quarter? So, because I love the way you phrase that the timeline is like one, but also not, and that love is this like uniting force. Do you think there's a lot of that in here, or is it something different?
I think they hinted at it strongly and then used the final act of the film to like set it home, to really set it home. I don't think it wasn't a philosophical movie in the sense that like, oh my gosh, these people are clearly demonstrating their free will. But there's a gorgeous hook at the start of the movie, and you don't understand it until you've seen the movie twice. Mm-hmm. The first scene of the movie is Luis's daughter dying, and she has a premonition. She has like a vision of that event happening, and then wakes up. It realizes that she doesn't actually have a daughter yet, but the feeling is so real that it couldn't help but maybe influence her choices. And the beauty of the film is, even after having that premonition and knowing that her daughter will die and it will lead to, her husband leaving her, she still chooses to go forward with the love that she has for Jeremy Renner anyway. Mm-hmm. Because the film isn't asking us like, oh, okay, well, whether or not we have free will, it's asking us, would we still make those same choices if we knew the grief, if we knew the suffering, if we knew maybe even the happiness of having like a daughter and a family, would we still make those same choices? And
if you knew you were going to die, would you still live life anyways?
Precisely. Mm-hmm. Yes. And that's the beauty of this eternal now that the film seems to present.
And isn't the last scene Jeremy Renner, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think, isn't the last scene him like dancing with her in the yard and saying, let's make a baby?
Yeah. Yeah.
And she like says yes.
Yes. She still agrees. She always had the choice. But she had already made the choice because it was the eternal, like the choice had already been made. She just hadn't made it yet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Does that mean time plays out on itself? That it's always playing this movie of sorts?
Is that a question for everybody?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm of the opinion that time, like, I hate this phrase that has become like a hipster phrase of like, time is a construct, but it kind of is. Like, it's a structure for us to live linearly, but that doesn't, it's a hard thing for us to wrap our heads around because it's the only way we know to experience reality. But we can imagine it not being there. I think it is something that is present for us, not necessary for us. Does that make sense? Like, it's there for us, almost like a gift, although I don't think it's a gift because it's kind of tied to death, and death was not a gift. But it's not necessary. Like, something else, I would say, God, people don't have to, is above time. Time doesn't control all of creation. It just is here. Yeah. I hope that's not too.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you, Travis, to keep it simple but not simple. I mean, time is considered the fourth dimension in terms of like classic physics, in terms to then quantum. That means it's tangible. You could feel it, you can touch it. I mean, just by the example of like 2D to 3D of how the shadow is 2, but the balloon is 3. I mean, it's just different cascading levels of interaction. Therefore, if we progress planes, we are then able to interact with it. And that's where it gets unique enough to the point of like Interstellar, where time is now a physically graspable dimension to be living in. Or rather, that's not even it. Actually, the aliens were using that as a 3.5, the third and a half dimension, because it's in a digestible way for us. Still, it's still not even the whole cake. So yeah, no, I'm with you, and I think the movie really delicately describes that interpretation to the point it produces tangible morality and tangible desire and understanding.
Yeah, and within this film, then the aliens' language becomes more than just language; it becomes metaphorical. Like
Right.
language is what we use to describe our condition, and the aliens being of higher function, of course, they're going to describe their condition as they see fit, and the aliens in this film are able to see the dimension of time, like we see three-dimensional objects. They can see the dimension of time, which is why they kind of like sacrifice themselves in the spaceship. Is like it doesn't matter. What matters is that they pass on this knowledge to Luis, who will go on to help them 3,000 years from now.
Yeah. And I love that you pointed out little Easter egg hints when you watch it a second time. I think this movie demands a second viewing. Because her dream happens like the moment the ships come.
Yeah.
And so like I thought about on the second viewing, I was like, oh, they always knew it was her.
Yeah.
Right. Because like they see time differently than us. So the moment they arrive on Earth, they know that she's the one that's going to figure it out. And so like she gets the dream as the ships arrive. I think they tell you that in the newscast is like, oh, they showed up at this time, and it's like the time that she wakes up from this dream, which is really cool.
Yeah, which I kind of want to bring up one of like my favorite parts of the movie. Before she knew the level of her involvement, she then makes a choice that kind of solidifies her involvement. When the general comes and says, yeah, we already spoke to like Donnelly or whoever, why should we choose you? And she says, go ask him the Sanskrit definition of the Sanskrit word for war, and like what's the literal translation. In doing so, she made it clear like her involvement, because the actual definition was to acquire cows. It wasn't to kill someone. It was to acquire cows. And I think in that way, it also is like foreshadowing her process of deciphering the language. Because what's the first thing that she does when she deciphers the language? Like she catches a lot of flack from the higher ups who are like, you need to find out what the word is for war and weapon and all these things. But she says, no, I need to figure out their definition for time, for like, what is it to walk? How do you define to?
Yeah.
You know?
And like, what is I think she even talks about like, we can't even ask them a question until they know that, like, we know that they understand what a question is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's super fascinating. But
yeah.
Kent, did you have, any more questions?
I mean, you guys, we all covered them, really. I mean, I think that covers the main aspects of the movie. Where, Zeb, I guess if I were to have a last one, I guess what's your biggest takeaway? Because it seemed like the movie was trying to teach us some lessons. What would you say the biggest kind of takeaway for you was?
That is a good question. On my first viewing, I was getting really philosophical with it, like, oh, what does this mean? You know, time doesn't actually exist. On my second viewing, it became more human-centered for me. More, what is the power of metaphysical things like love? Because love, I can't hold love, right? But I sure as shit know when I have it, when I feel it, when I receive it, right? That was the bigger takeaway was, oh, okay, there are some there are some things in our current life that transcend time, and that's the metaphysics. Because my love for my grandpa who died isn't gone. He's gone. I'm still loving him, no problem, right? That doesn't make sense if you are strictly a physical being who's interested in three-dimensional stuff, right? To love something that's gone is I don't know, it doesn't mentally track. To love things in the future also doesn't track either. Like I plan to have kids. I know I'm gonna love those kids. They don't exist yet.
Right.
But what is that gives me the ability to transcend this linear plane this linear life that we appear to be on? That was my second viewing takeaway.
Heck yeah. I really like that approach.
I gotta read if I can find it.
Well, cool. All right. Honestly, that kind of wraps it up. I mean, Zeb, do you have any things about Arrival that you want to say, or anything that you didn't get the chance for?
Yes, I do. I'm going to pull up some fun facts because Travis is going to read us something here in a second. So, number one, if for those of you that don't know, Arrival is a Denis Villeneuve film, which if you're familiar, what was the laugh?
Villeneuve.
Oh, fuck. Right, my bad.
You got Denis right. The first time I ever talked about that director was like to an ex-girlfriend, and I was like, "Oh, have you watched this new Dennis movie?" And she laughed at me. So yeah, he's French as hell.
Okay, so the other fun fact is that this movie was based on a novella, so not a full book, like a novella. And the original title of the film was going to be "The Story of Your Life," which was the same as the novella. Let's see.
I really like that.
Oh my gosh. Okay. This one is fun since we're talking about like Oscar, since we're almost in Oscar season. The track for this film, I don't know if you recall it, but it's modern classical music. And it was by an artist named Johan Johanssons. And he was supposed to get an Academy Award nomination, but got denied because he had written the score prior to the film. So even though it was his music, it was his score, it couldn't get an Academy Award nomination because it was already written. Like it wasn't written solely for Arrival, which is a bummer.
Wow. What a technicality. I mean, it makes sense. Because if you want best score and you just start throwing it in every movie, it's like,
even though he was handpicked to like finish the score, because big chunks of it were already written, even though he like tailored it.
Sure.
He did not receive any acclaim.
All right.
Yeah.
If I may.
Please.
Because I think this just really relates to what you said, Zeb, and that's why I was reminded of it. This is from C.S. Lewis's Space Trilogy. He wrote 3 science fiction novels. People don't often know that, but I'm just now reading them, so I didn't know that either. On page 774 of my copy. So chapter 12 is one of the most beautiful chapters of any book I've read in a while, and because it has little paragraphs like this, and so these two characters are talking to each other. One's an alien, the other one's a person, and they're kind of talking about their different cultures and how they think about things, and they're talking about pleasure. And I just think this is so beautiful and speaks to what you said, Zeb. A pleasure is full-grown only when it is remembered. You are speaking, human, as if the pleasure were one thing and the memory another. It is all one thing. The Cerrone could say it better than I say it now, not better than I could say it in a poem. What you call remembering is the last part of a pleasure. As the craw is the last part of a poem. When you and I met, the meeting was over very shortly. It was nothing. Now it is growing something as we remember it, but still we know very little about it. What it will be when I remember it as I lie down to die, what it makes in me all my days till then, that is the real meeting.
Nice.
And I'm like, that's so good. Like this, and I think you're speaking to that of like this. Arrival talks about this like unification of the whole memory of a thing as the true love of it. Like you said with your grandpa, like your love for your grandpa as a child and your love for your grandpa now as he's passed is all one love that's like connected in these different ways. And that's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good tie-in to classic literature.
Thank you.
So one strange thing, a little timeout moment here. Travis, I can't hear you at all. Zeb, I can hear you perfectly.
Oh, well, we are live. So on our break, we will figure that out.
Pointing, I'm like, cool. Okay.
So sorry. We are live.
We can continue. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, I'll translate.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, Zeb.
Well, it's do it live. Can't no worries, because it's my turn to start grilling Travis about his write-up on.
Cool. Okay. I'm not troubleshooting my end. You rip right on ahead.
Rock and roll McDonald's. All right.
Rock and roll McDonald's. We're professionals here, people.
Yeah, we are. Speaking of professionals, let's talk about professional fighter Mark Kerr.
Hey, that guy.
Hey. So this is a biopic. You chose to write about the Smashing Machine and our relationships with victory. Your title says a tragic love triangle, but you only list two things. So that's two-thirds of a triangle. What's the third key element in this?
It's victory. It's winning. And I, in my opening thing, talk about how most movies that say they're love triangles are actually, as Dimitri Martin, the comedian, put it, love angles, because there's like the guy and the girl, and then there's the other guy, and the girl loves the one guy, loves both guys, but the guys don't love each other, and so that's just a love angle. It's not a triangle. I argue that the Smashing Machine is a true love triangle because it's Mark loves his wife, his girlfriend at the time, who becomes his wife later, Dawn. Dawn loves Mark, and both of them struggle with a love for victory, and victory is like influencing both their lives. So everybody's all tangled in this messiness, right? Yes. And I do think they can't like get over their loves of victory to save their own love, even though their own love is real. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, thank you for clarifying that. I would love if you could first, before we go too deep, give us a brief synopsis. I think it's perfectly fitting that you chose this as a combat athlete yourself and with a deep love and appreciation of the sport. So what is the Smashing Machine?
Yeah, as you said, it's a biopic about real life, very early MMA fighter, Mark Kerr. By very early, I mean, I think he was on like UFC 8 or something like that, which for context of people that don't know UFC, if you watch it today and you think, wow, this is brutal and blood sport, there's rules now. Back in the day, UFC used to just be bare knuckle and no weight classes. So it was just guys getting in a cage and beating the living hell out of each other with like the referee there to make sure no one died. That was UFC. And Mark Kerr started in that crap, as well as in the Japanese Pride.
Is it true that they also would fight several rounds or several bouts against different people in the same evening?
Yeah, I don't know about UFC, but Pride had a tournament style. And that is actually what Mark Kerr was in most. He was a Pride fighter more than he was a UFC fighter. And Pride is like the Japanese Japan's UFC. It's still running. It's still very reputable. I'd say UFC has more popularity and is kind of seen as like the biggest star of them, but like Pride is huge. If not tied for first, it's at least second in fight in MMA.
Okay. And I think there's another key element that kind of drove the creation of this film, which is the Smashing Machines not an original title.
No, it's yep. It was a documentary.
Okay.
It was a documentary before it was this movie. The Safdie brothers, who made Uncut Gems and a couple. Oh, what was their other? Good Times with Robert Pattinson. They split this year. Not like they fought or anything. They publicly said we're going to try and make our own careers. Partly because Benny, the director of this, wanted to act more. He's going to be in The Odyssey. He plays Agamemnon. So he wanted to do acting more, but he also wanted to continue to direct. His brother made a movie you wrote about, Marty Supreme, this year. And this was his movie that he made for the year, The Smashing Machine. And both of them have this obsession, I would say, or fixation, either way. It's not like I don't use that in a negative way, with stories about highly motivated people who can't really figure out what's most important in life, is how I'll put it.
Yeah, it's not like they're actually good people.
Yeah, I think this one's a little more gray. Like, I wouldn't say Mark Kerr was a bad person. And if you've seen it, I think you see why. He's a flawed person. So he's not like Marty Supreme. Like Marty in that movie is not a good person. Mark is I think the whole point of the film is he's just obsessed with victory. And that makes sense to me. If you want to be that good at combat sports or any sport, really, I mean, from golf to beating each other up in a ring, you kind of have to be obsessed with it and obsessed with winning. Like, you can't just let that go. And I think this movie's an exploration, a flawed one. I wouldn't say. I gave it a 4 out of 5. And there are moments that drag. It's a little slower than his other films. But it's a really good depiction of a man who refuses to lose in every aspect of his life, and how he has to come to terms with the fact that that's never going to happen. Like, he has to lose. It's going to inevitably happen.
Okay. One thing that I really, really enjoyed about your particular write-up was you did a dive into Dawn's pursuit of victory, which, I'll be honest, in my watching of the film, I didn't really see that for her. Mm-hmm. I just thought she was more interested in the success of her boyfriend so that she could continue living a good life.
Oh, yeah. I think she had to win as well in a different way. And I think I've seen people in relationships like this, gender aside. It doesn't matter if it's the woman or the man, but I've seen people who are like in this constant pursuit of victory for attention. And as soon as it's like they don't feel like they're winning the time game, then they like make sure to do it. And I think where it comes out strongest is the amount of times she seems willing to fight simply to have his attention. Like, she doesn't care if the attention is negative, but he's looking at her. Even if he's yelling or crushing plates or whatever, he's looking at her. And as long as he's looking at her and not fighting or his friends or anything else, like, as long as that's happening, Dawn seems content with the life that she's in. But as soon as he, like, I think the biggest tell for me for this moment is the fact that she resorts to almost committing suicide when he tells her to leave the house. because she's lost at that point. Her whole bid for, and like the words that she uses, I think are very telling, because he says, I can't do this. Get your stuff and get out of the house. And her like immediate response is to like calm down. She's like high emotion, yelling at him. They're screaming. And then as soon as it gets real, she calms down and tries to like placate. She's just like, oh, I was wrong. We can talk about this tomorrow. I'm so sorry. And like immediately he's like, no. Like I took a risky move in this game and I lost. Like you're kicking me out.
Hold my
And
bluff.
then he's like, no, it's done. Get out. And she's like, okay, the last little trick I have in my pocket is to try and take my own life. And it keeps her in his attention. And then you see that later making his fighting worse. It's a very interesting view of that kind of relationship you have to have.
Sure. All right. I got one more question. Why did you choose this film for our February theme of hidden love stories?
Maybe because I'm dark. And I think I was originally going to choose The Departed.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
But then I've been going through all the Oscar nominees.
Okay.
And actually, I don't know if this was actually nominated, but it was nominated for a Golden Globe, so I put it on my watch list. And I just, after I finished it, I was like, oh man, this was a love triangle. And I think it was a love, like the victory thing really captivated me because I've seen relationships like this. I've also seen the like kind of amazing woman it takes to be married to a fighter.
Yeah.
I know a lot of fighters, and I know a lot of amazing fighters' wives who are like not doing the things that Dawn does. And like, it was a very personal thing to me. Not that my wife has to deal with that, because I don't fight. I just train. I mean, I fought once, but I probably maybe will one more time, but I'm not going to make a profession of it. And I wouldn't ask my wife to do that. But like, yeah, I'm around a lot of guys that I've seen what combat sports, the kind of strains they can put on a marriage. And that type of love story, even though it's tragic and it's not positive, just resonated with me because I've seen it so often.
Sure.
Also, one little tidbit about this movie that's just cool to me is, and it's something the Safdies do in all their movies that I love, is they bring great performances out of just people. So the guy that plays not Mark Strom.
No, the side coach.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what is his name? He's incredible. He's a real fighter.
Yeah, he's Ryan. That's Ryan Bader. And
no, the other one.
Oh, you're talking about yeah. So here's my point: is like the two coaches are just real fighters. The guy that plays Mark Coleman is Ryan Bader. Ryan Bader was a UFC fighter, and the main coach, is
Boss Rutten.
Boss Rutten, who was like one of the best kickboxers in history.
Yeah.
And they don't do a bad job. Like somehow, I don't know what the Safdies do to direct people, but they turn just normal dudes, and like dudes being a general term, they just turn normal people into like pretty phenomenal actors that give pretty good performances.
Okay, I 100% agree, because I didn't know the first coach in the film. I noticed that he was just really casual, and so for me that triggered a little bit of an alarm. Like, this guy seems normal. This guy doesn't seem acting. This seems like a fighter. And then I saw Boss Rutten, and I was like, that's a fight. That's a killer. How is he just talking like he's not freaking out on set?
There's another one disguised there. Did you see the other one?
Probably not. Who was
the
it?
guy that plays the main rival, the like Ukrainian rival that fights Mark Kerr the whole time? Yeah, that's the current boxing heavyweight champion of the world. Alexander Usyk.
No way.
Yeah, Alexander Usyk. He's defended his title like 3 times. He knocked out Tyson Fury in his last fight. He's a badass. He's 24-0.
I'll be
And
damned.
He plays the Ukrainian guy that fights Mark Kerr.
Oh, that is a scary, scary looking dude.
Yeah, Usyk's the man.
Are you talking about the new German UFC fighter?
No, the current boxing heavyweight champion of the world.
Well, if you haven't seen him, you should. He's this German man who's very stoic, and he looks like he'd be an executioner from the 1400s. He's just missing the cloak.
Oh, also I need to clarify something. I apologize to this fighter.
Yeah.
Please don't find me. He's Ukrainian, not Russian.
Oh shit!
My bad.
Yeah, I said Ukrainian, didn't I?
You might have. I might have missed it. I said Russian.
Yeah, I think I said Ukrainian.
You're about to get bombs in your mail, son.
There's going to be a drone outside the window.
All right. Usyk is awesome. He's also
guys show up.
He's an Orthodox Christian, which is always cool for me. Anyway, yeah.
Sweet. Yeah,
that's why
I don't have any other questions. Kent, you have any questions about Smashing Machine?
No, yeah, that covers it.
All right. Well, Zeb, before you jump us into our next one, I'd say let's take our 2-minute break. I gotta go throw some vegetables into a roast pot. So, everyone, turn off your cameras and your microphones, and I'll see you back here in 2 minutes.
Hello. What?
Hello.
We're back, baby.
We're back. That might have been a little more than 2 minutes. Apologies, people.
Just a touch.
But just a touch. Kent, are you with us?
Kent. Kent. It's me, your father.
Kent.
Kent.
I think we gotta press forward. Hopefully he returns soon. All right, Zeb, take it away.
I'm ready. So up next, we have your Only the Good article. So for those of you that don't know, every now and then we throw out an article, a little bit of a bonus shot called Only the Good, and it's our side series on films, books, any kind of literature that we think deserves particular recognition or has some kind of importance. So Travis, you wrote this one. 2 Oscar nominees tackle a similar theme, and you went over which movies?
2 I'm incredibly excited to talk about. Sentimental Value and Hamnet. Both Oscar nominees. I don't think either of them are going to win Best Picture for various reasons. I think mostly because you can usually predict the 2-3 front runners for Best Picture most years. I might be wrong, but yeah. But they're incredibly good, and they have a similar theme. So a quick synopsis of both. Hamnet is a historical fiction based on a book, a novel, a historical fiction novel about William Shakespeare and his wife, Agnes, in this movie. I'm not sure if that was his wife's actual name. I'd have to look into it. I forgot. And their son Hamnet dies of the plague, and it's just about them recovering from the grief, and him writing Hamlet as sort of a way to process that grief. Mostly focuses on her, on Agnes as the character, though. And then Sentimental Value, my personal favorite of the year so far, is about Gustav, a famous director, and his daughter Nora, and his other daughter is a character as well, but I didn't write as much about her. And Stellan Skarsgård and Renee, I forgot her last name, Rensve, play the father and daughter. They have kind of a strange relationship. There was a divorce early in her childhood. He left. She feels kind of abandoned. He returns with a script that he wrote for her, and he's asking her to be in the movie and read the script. And she's refusing because he doesn't see that their relationship is strained. And the whole movie is kind of about how they work through reconciling that tension between them. So it's a slow sort of emotional family drama.
Interesting. These appear to be polar opposites to the general theme of the month of February, but not so if you look at the underlying thread, because
yes.
it was secretly love in the first place, right?
Yeah, I would say so. But yeah,
because you can't have grief if you never loved.
That's true. Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think the theme that I found common amongst both was this thread of artistic men using their art to get to work through their grief. And what I found to be beautiful was the women in their life who are the primary characters of the films seeing that as a good, instead of, I think there's been a stigma on the pained artist trope of oh, that guy sucks. And that's no excuse. You can't just separate and do your art. And I'm not saying that these movies justify that, but I think they give a really nuanced and beautiful approach to women who love these men, seeing them and being oh, you are grieving. You're just not doing it like me. And I see now, once they see the art, there's moments in both where when Agnes sees Hamlet, the play, and when Nora reads the script finally, they both have these moments of holy crap. I assumed he didn't feel the way I felt because I didn't see it. the way that I show it.
Sure.
And I think that was really beautiful.
Do you think that's a commonality that men in general, artistic or not, seem to share, is a seemingly just inability to talk, to like let out what they're feeling? Because okay, maybe I'll start with me.
No, I chuckle because I chuckle for thought. I'm not like laughing at your question.
No,
I think it's great, but
because as I read your article, all I could think was, well, yeah, guys and girls we just don't express ourselves the same way. I've had very bad relationships pivoting on me not being able to express, what I'm feeling, but I couldn't help but wonder, maybe we're just speaking different languages. And I think that's what you're kind of getting at here is Hamnet. He's going through all the stages of grief, just in a very different way.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say that. And I mean, broad generalizations about gender are a tough thing to talk about, but I think there is a difference, and I don't think you should. There's a balance that these movies find that I think is really beautiful and really needed right now, because you can go to the extremes of either end, where you can get the like starving artist who neglects everything, or not starving, but like the pained artist that neglects literally everything because of his art, and then expects people to accept that as an excuse of like, oh, I'm sorry I can't be with you because I'm like the art, and sometimes, yeah, that does create great art, but that doesn't mean it comes from a good person. But what I think the nuance here is like the art has a purpose, and that purpose is actually directed for love. And so it's not like, oh, I'm neglecting my whole life because I need the pain to make the art. But rather, I'm going to use this thing that will not leave me alone to show my love, right? And that's in both movies. There's this really beautiful scene, and the ending scene of Hamnet is like the whole movie. Even if you have problems with the first two acts, the final 10 to 15 minutes will give you chills. Like the way it's filmed, the way it's done. Even if you don't like Shakespeare, there's a moment where Jessie Buckley's character Agnes, Paul Mescal's character William Shakespeare, lock eyes, her in the audience, him backstage, and she you can just see in their faces that she's like, this was for him, this was for our son. And then they like turn and they see the specter of their boy kind of like passing into the next life, and they have this like moment of like, yeah, this was a farewell, and it was gorgeous. And we both, like, the wife is accepting and kind of saying thank you. He is like happy that doesn't seem like she wants to kill him. And like there's a moment of, oh, I get you now. I think that's what it really is at the heart of both of these. And same with the sentimental value. Spoiler alert, Nora eventually, when she reads the script, agrees to do the movie. And the last scene is her and Gustav on set, and they still can't talk to each other, but they have like a look that's like, thank you for being here, thank you for writing this, we understand each other more now. And I hope that answered your question. But yeah, I think at the heart of it is I do think it's common that men, especially in the arts, use the arts to express their emotions, but you can do that poorly and you can do that well. And I think this is two examples of men doing it well.
Nice. Okay. Neither of these or both of these are still showing in theaters, correct?
Probably limited theaters, but they're both on Amazon to buy, or wherever you buy movies if you don't want to give Amazon money, which I would understand. But yeah, I think probably limited theaters. I know they both left the big theater in Bozeman, so that means like your main cinema in town, if you're not in a big city, probably won't have them.
Okay.
But art house theater somewhere definitely gonna still be playing them ahead of the Oscars.
Fantastic.
And I will say, again, they won't win. I'm gonna say that pretty loudly, but from what I've seen, and I've seen all but 2 Best Picture noms. Renee and Stellan should win actress and actor. Their performances are insanely good. And not big. That's what makes them better. It like big emotion is common and hard. I'm not saying like acting big is easy.
Sure.
But we've seen it. We've seen these moments of like people screaming and crying and like heartbreaking scenes.
Yeah.
What Renee and Stellan do is like thousands of volumes written in a single look. Like it's so good. It's some of the best acting I've seen in a while. And I hope they win and surprise me, but I know the Academy Awards by now pretty well. And I don't think it's gonna happen.
Oh, wow. Okay. I have no other questions for you. I think you really detailed that well.
You might be up to bat, live audience, because Kent, can you hear me? I think that's a no. Zeb, can he hear you?
Kent, can you hear me? All right.
Kent is gone. Okay. Well, we
so Kent wrote an amazing article. Love at First Ice, a Midwestern love story in which he details the secret and hidden love story of the film Miracle, starring Kurt Russell.
And he's back.
We're back somehow. I started it for the 5th time, and I could hear you both perfectly. Travis, you like whispered out, and then Zeb, I completely lost you that second round there. So we started it back. Miracle is a great movie.
Tell us about what is Miracle about, Kent?
Miracle is about the true underdogs. It's Herb and his boys taking on the iron-throned Soviet Union and their eternal hockey program with a bunch of non-NHL recently graduated college boys. And I emphasize the boys part because the whole movie they're at each other's necks. They're constantly giving in to their emotions as most young people do. And Herb is also plagued by said emotion, but he has his demons. He has his closet. And through that closet, he's able to pick the right strategies to bring these guys together. He employs the classic, hey, if everyone hates me, they won't have time to hate everyone else. And he does the unthinkable through this. He builds a hockey team, a true God-fearing, red-blooded American beat the Soviets hockey team.
Mm-hmm.
And Kent, who is Herb Brooks?
Herb Brooks is Kurt Russell, and he rather gives one of his best performances. Where to bring it back to this month's theme, he plays an incredible family man, and through this achievement, he is also aided by his wife and his family, but also plagued by it in that same breath. And it toes this very interesting line of priority.
Sure. For those of you that don't know, Herb Brooks was the head coach of the Minnesota team leading up to this Olympics, and won back-to-back national titles with his Minnesota team. And in fact, several of the players on the eventual 1980 Olympic team were Minnesota Gophers And some of them were cut though, and that is a really cool kind of backstory to this whole thing. Another fascinating fact about Herb Brooks is that he had a degree in psychology.
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know if you remember the scene from the movie, that test that he gave him.
Mm-hmm.
That was a psychology test. That was, he wasn't actually looking at the answers. He was looking at how the boys took the test.
Right. Even if it was throwing it away.
Especially if it was throwing it away. He needed Jim Craig to be a badass in the crease. Jim Craig was the goalie, by the way. Steve Januzak was the backup goalie, and he never touched the ice the entire 6 months leading up to Lake Placid.
Awesome.
Because Jim Craig was an unstoppable force.
Kent, I want to talk about I'm not trying to be egotistical here, but this seems like, okay, I related this a lot to my breakdown of the Smashing Machine, because what it seems to me, and tell me if you see a connection here, is that you talked about the love that Herb has for his family, but the cost of being devoted to winning this game. But it seems like this is like the positive, whereas Mark Kerr's story is the negative. Like they're both kind of what I was talking about, of like the kind of woman that it takes in this kind of marriage with a man who's like constantly pursuing sports success and vice versa. Do you see that in their relationship, that this is like the same type of problem where like Herb needs victory more than he needs to breathe, but in this case, as opposed to in the Smashing Machine, Patty actually understands that and is like steady with him.
Right. Where I would almost argue Kerr isn't accomplished, whereas Herb is. And both these women, because I absolutely agree with you, both these women are attracted to their passion, in my opinion. They're very passionate men, and they're go-getters. And inherently that's attractive to anyone, regardless of gender. So I would say it's that attraction to that specific gene, if you will. And that's what like starts the fire, and it stays smoldering enough through even the coldest nights, if you will, that it still has a heat signature. It still keeps going. And it depends on the success, on whether it's a true testament love story, or is it, or if it's a tragedy in a way, just like was it Smashing Man, or is it
Smashing Machine?
Smashing Machine, there it is. But yeah, in that regard, it's very much so a tragedy, because things don't go their way the whole time. Whereas in Miracle, there's a reason why it's called Miracle. It's the reason why it's my comfort story. You have all these down to earth Midwesterners really over pronunciating their vowels and just hanging out. And the meanest thing someone says is like, "Yeah, guy cheap shotted me out of my trophy. Fuck him. That's it. That's it." And they become buddies at the end. It's very happy. It's a bunch of golden retrievers winning a game for the U.S. Whereas Smashing Machine is, like Zeb was saying, they've got some real fucking fighters. I mean, UFC, MMA. I mean, that is. I mean, you want to talk about the last gladiator sport? So yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on to it. And I think those are the reasons. I think it's a difference between success and overall variables on who's optimistic, who's pessimistic, and who's getting their shit pushed in.
Yeah.
Kent, I think there's another huge piece of context here that Patty Brooks was definitely privy to. Remind us what Herb Brooks' background was in his Olympic dreams prior to coaching.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Yeah, so for all those listening, Herb, I think it was like the 64 team, something along those lines, team in the 60s. He had his seat. He was ready to go. And just in the movie Miracle, you have your practice squad players, but you got to get it down to 20 or so. And You start off with your big group, just like any other group. You start cutting off the fat. And Brooks was unfortunately that last piece of fat that had to go. So he wasn't able to go to the Olympics. So his wife, Peggy, especially understood how important it was not only for him to devote his time to this because of how impassioned he was, but because of the opportunity he missed and how this could make up for that. And how he has been a good family man in the past as well. This isn't like he was doing drugs on the couch, watching TV all day, fucking off. No, he was an accomplished coach with a family, a roof over their heads. It's like, yeah, you're just missing out on some important stuff, but it's not that bad. Smash Machine, that's broken bones, black eyes. Now, I digress.
There were definitely broken bones and black eyes in hockey.
Oh yeah, hockey's brutal.
Well,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. We're probably not dying from hockey as close as you could to MMA.
For sure.
Yeah, I really like this highlight you make of Patty, and I love this line. Patty must accept his emotional distance because she trusts his heart. You say that after you say players must accept Herb's harsh methods because they trust his vision. I think trust is huge in any relationship, but I love that you talk about the leadership aspects too, of like it is bigger than we make it out to be, I think, especially in leadership positions of oftentimes you don't like your boss simply because they do like everything exactly how you want them to. You like them because you trust that they're going a direction that's going to be correct. And same with a relationship is like, I like that phrase of trusts his heart is like, where was I going with this? Oh yeah. I feel comfortable in most all situations, like leaving home for many days because I trust A, my wife isn't going to do anything dumb, and B, she's going to believe that I'm not going to. So it's more about me. More about me being like, okay, I can be distant from her, and I know that she's going to trust that I'm fine, and that when I return, it will be with love. So I think that was a really impactful line.
Thank you. Yeah, I really value that. Where at the end of the day, it takes two to tango. It's a partnership, and you shouldn't be marrying someone. You shouldn't be getting involved with someone that you don't trust. So I absolutely agree with you. I mean, something like this does take trust. I mean, it's long hours away and going, and yeah, you don't have that trust. This doesn't work. That doesn't work.
Yeah. I'd love to talk to you both about. We tend to get philosophical if no one's noticed on our articles and our show. But I had a conversation a while back with a couple old coaches of mine, and we were talking about other coaches who shall not be named, but who had a track record of divorces and sort of like broken family kind of things. And the two coaches I was talking to, I posed this question that I would love to discuss with y'all. Basically, we're like, but they were the winningest coaches we knew. And so one had literally been divorced like 5 times, but he won like 12 state championships with his team for wrestling. And I was like, that doesn't seem worth it. And both of them kind of like pushed back and argued with me. And there is this like tricky scale balance thing, I think, of like, yes, you're building a family with a team of a sort. Like these boys who turn into men will probably look back and love you as a coach. And that is a sort of family. But why does it feel as icky to you? And B, why that we some men decide to establish that family at the expense of their home family.
Well,
and also,
yeah,
how does this wonderful hockey coach stand in contrast to that?
absolutely. I mean, oh shoot, I had it and then I lost it. Shoot. More. No, you're good. You're good. More or less, when it comes to this, and it's come back. So you know what my first initial knee jerk reaction was as you're talking about this is, Travis?
What?
Whiplash.
Oh, great movie. Yep.
Yeah, it's music. It's a little bit different for viewers watching, listening. It's all about a Juilliard prodigy, a music prodigy, and how the lead instructor becomes so traumatizing and pushing, but so intelligent and genius that it's this warped story of stardom. And in positions like this, where you have your passion turning into obsession, because that's usually the upper echelons of a lot of teams and different groups being awarded accolades consistently. There's this element of consistency to the point of obsession, and I think that's where Herb and a lot of these guys are. They just, it consumes them. I mean, when you think back to the moments of the shots with them, with their family, all these different people, every sports movie that involves a whole family aspect or a dad usually, um, there is this level of commitment that even bleeds through to the shots, and that most of the shots that you see in the house to kind of break up the hockey shots, the sports shots, the actual plot shots, it's usually them working in an office late at night. It's like a 5-minute pan of them smoking some cigar, threading their eyebrows, and it goes back to whatever game they're playing, and then it's a holiday, and that's it. Maybe another longing shot in the studio or the office, or maybe there's a sex scene. I don't know. If we're lucky, there actually is some intimacy, a kiss on the cheek, because yeah, the whole time they're just so obsessed with it. And with Herb, it's a little different because of missing his slot, but I would say with like Smash Machine and shit, it becomes this, I need to do this. Otherwise, I will not be happy with the rest of my life. And it's like, what do you want to do? I just have to win this game. I have to do this. It's like, all right, fine. I love you. I'm here. Like, we have to do it. Sure. So yeah, I would say it's almost a debilitating addiction at that point, depending on how and where it's enacted.
I can think of another good example of a positive coach who balanced the obsession and balanced the family.
Yeah.
Coach Herman Boone.
Yes.
Remember the Titans, baby.
Yes,
Remember
sir.
the Titans. Yep. Both coaches.
Absolutely.
Well, who was the assistant? Because he also, I love the scenes with his daughter, and that was a great.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, what is his coach's?
And there is some, while you're looking that up, I think there is something to the assistant coach with the daughter he doesn't push the daughter away from the thing. And I think that can happen a lot where it's like, you don't get to enjoy it. Like, this is my thing. Go over there and just like be my wife or be my daughter or whatever. Right. He's like, no, like, I love football and I love my daughter. Why do the two have to be separate? Like they don't. And I think that's one way people can balance the family versus the victory pursuit is by allowing the family to glimpse into the window. And I think a lot of coaches don't do that, and maybe it causes trouble.
Coach Billy Yost, played by Will.
Oh, yeah, Yost. Yeah, I remember that.
Yep.
But Herman Boone, why Herman Boone, Zeb?
All right. Not only did he win an undefeated state championship title, he was also a black coach in a segregated area, trying to protect his family and protect his team. So if you remember, there's a scene in the movie where a whole bunch of people come up to his house and he's like, oh shit, this is it. Like, honey, get back inside, get back inside. And the guy, like big burly white guy who like you think is going to be racist, gets out and goes, we're all rooting for you, coach.
Yeah. Yep.
But like Coach Boone is balancing like the protection of his family and the desire for a championship and the segregation that comes along with it.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I don't know. That was like the first one I could think of. The other one is like Glory Road with oh hell, I don't know who it is, but Glory Road where he goes down to like El Paso, Texas, and brings his family with him, and they live in the dorms.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry, this is life now. But then they go on and win, a basketball championship.
Yeah, it's the actor that plays. He plays the adult version of the kid in Secondhand Lions, and he plays the villain in. Oh, I can't see it. I'll look it up. But yeah, he's a underappreciated actor. Yeah. What else struck you, Kent, about the beautiful relationship and depiction of a marriage in Miracle?
I would say their ability to communicate, even though Herb really doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I would say it's how they're always treating each other with love. Not to say that other couples don't, but even in the fights, it's never that bad. It's never that. And maybe that's just the Disney camouflage of it all. But I don't know. I feel like the way they talk to each other that they're not going to let it get to a point where it gets bad.
Mm-hmm.
That they're committed. There isn't this unwavering fear. It's, yeah, I'm pissed at you right now. But I know I'm spending the rest of my life with you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or this or that or whatever it is. It's this, I don't fear this fight. I don't fear anything when I'm with you.
I like that. I don't fear this fight. That's definitely a good way to put it. And I think you wrote this at a very pertinent time. Why? Could you tell our audience knows. Everybody knows. But it's great. But it's great to talk about it. Yeah. We 2 times. Take that, Canada.
How about them apples?
Yep. Love it. So why not write about Miracle right on the cusp of us winning another Olympic gold in hockey? We love that. Kent, great articles. Zeb, great articles. Anything you gentlemen would like to share before we sign off for the night?
Any movies you're looking forward to? Any trailers?
Ooh, I like it.
Oh man, there's quite a few that I'm excited for.
I keep on seeing stuff on Werewolf.
I'm avoiding too much on that until the first trailer drops, and I'll in theaters watching it, and then I'll be like a giddy school kid.
There it is.
I not any new ones, but I have a list here of the last. This is one of the best years I've had for Oscar watch list.
Seriously,
I have a list here of movies I have left to watch that are Oscar nominees in every category, but documentaries.
We really are heading for a depression.
So here it is. I'm going to be watching Blue Moon, The Lost Bus, The Secret Agent, If I'd Had Legs, I'd Kick You, Sun Blue, Train Dreams, Avatar Fire and Ash, It Was Just an Accident, Sirat, The Voice of Hind Rajab, Kokacho, and The Ugly Stepsister. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I think out of that list, I'm most looking forward to Blue Moon because I love Richard Linklater and I love Ethan Hawke, and Train Dreams, because I've heard it's gorgeous.
Dude, you gotta watch Train Dreams.
I was gonna say I'm in the same boat.
You gotta watch Train Dreams.
Cool.
Yeah.
On Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same as Blue Moon. And If I Had Legs, I'd kick. If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You was on HBO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a trailer for that. I wasn't that excited.
Well, it's got a Best Actress nominee, I think, is what it has.
I saw that.
It's up for. So I think I gotta watch it. It's on the list.
Yeah. That's you gotta do it. Don't make the rules.
I don't make the rules. No, I just follow them.
All right, gentlemen, shall we call it there?
I think so. Thank you for joining us, everybody. We are Meathead Media, a affiliate of Fermented Fiction. This has been Zeb, Travis, and Kent, and we will see you again next month talking about our March articles. What is our March theme? Do you gentlemen remember?
Oh, yeah. I got it somewhere.
All right.
I got it somewhere.
I was really hoping you had it.
People can look forward to our March theme as soon as we know what it is, because that's how we roll.
Sports ball. Our theme for March.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. We're doing all the racing movies.
With Travis kicking us off with Vision Quest this Monday.
Yeah. And I got the double, I think, and I'm going to do a real sad one.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. I'm going to do Vision Quest and then the Iron Claw, which I've heard is going to rip my heart out, chew it up, and then spit it in my face. So
make sure a friend knows your whereabouts when you're watching that movie, so you don't know anything.
Okay.
It most sure is going to get rough.
Yeah,
all right, perfect.
Hard.
All right, but yeah, you can look forward to that. A bunch of sports movies that we're talking about. Lots of racing movies, and me with my combat sports as usual, because I love combat sports. Again, we have been your usual doofuses. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.
Bye.